Hey fam, Savage Joy here, I'm sorry, I'm distracted, Real Progress in Action. I am just going to kind of wait for some people to tune in. Um, Yet again, a total clusterfuck of a debate. So we'll get into all of that. Um, let's see. I'm just kind of checking my notes while some people join. Oh my god, if you guys didn't watch, woo. Yeah, I mean, like, okay. Yeah. There's like no way Bloomberg did not pay the audience. Is yeah. I gotta admit, so I see Uh, okay, so there's 15 people, which isn't that great, but there's so much to get into and like clusterfuck is the only way I know how to describe it other than shit show. I don't fucking know. Um what I mean, okay, well, first, let's just say I was so nervous to the point that I was nauseous and I was worried I was gonna barf. Like I was like, oh my god, they're gonna trash him. And what if he gets I mean, because I know me, if they come at me with lies and smears, I'm gonna be like, hold up, no, and everybody reaches their limit. And Bernie has held it down thus far. So I was like, shit, like, ooh, what if they say something that really just, and he's like, fuck you. Not that he would say that, but um so that's what I was more trepidatious of. We all knew what they were going to say to him, as far as insults go. We know how to, sense those things. It's the same shit that all those libs come at him with online. They're all the same. Um, so, uh, so I was nervous as hell. It was only 2 hours, which is interesting. This is the first time I've ever said I wish it were longer. The debate, that is. Because usually even when they had 5 people, it was 3 hours and it was just so excessive and so ridiculous. And this time, the way that they cut people off nonstop, I mean, some I was okay with, but like take Pete. Pete was, everybody interrupted each other, everybody. But Pete interrupted people more than anybody else. And not just interrupted, he legit talked over people for like full sentences. Like you know how if you say something and someone else says something, then one person kind of relents and lets the other person talk. Oh no, Pete just kept going. So there were times when Bernie would be talking for like the minute and Pete would just keep talking the whole time, drowning Bernie out completely, even though he was the one called on. It was immature and pathetic. And just privileged as he always is. He was just so rude. And I kept thinking, all the times he interrupted Liz and Amy, and nobody's calling him sexist. At one point, Joe literally said to the 2 women moderators, hold up, let me talk, like that, and yelled at them. I mean, oh my God. If Bernie did that, mm-mm, hell no. So the questions I've seen worse, but the way they handled it was absolutely excruciating. Absolutely excruciating. it was like they had no control at all. And I've hosted debates, and it's difficult. It's not easy. I've hosted debates with 3 people and 2 people, so not 6 or 7. I get that. But I've also done them by myself. So it's not easy to say, hold up, time's up. But they had no control. I've never seen anything like it. It was just a free for all. They didn't even need moderators. It was bananas. So I want to, I'm going to read one of my posts. Let's see. I was just kind of typing. I took notes, as always. But I just want to read a few of my posts, like my thought process while I was watching. So today, literally a few hours ago, Pete was protested by a group of African Americans who work at McDonald's who have not gotten their fight for 15. And they chanted, Pete can't be our president. Where was $15 in South Bend? They chanted it over and over and over. As he went up to them for photo ops, literally, he walks up to them for photo ops, and they just start chanting at him to the point where he runs. And all these like young white women, well, there were 2 of them, try to block him like a security guard. Oh my God, it was so pathetic. And then tonight, we see that same person say, we need to listen to African American voices. We need to listen to their pain. Really? Because literally like 3 hours prior to that, you ran away physically. So yeah, stop. So that was yet again absolutely pathetic. I just saw Mike's Bloomberg's Okay Bloomer campaign brought on the former presidents of E! And Comedy Central as advisors to help develop unpaid relationships with talk show hosts, comedians, pro athletes, and musicians. Okay, so let's really be appalled and go F yourself. Aw, if you're not appalled, there's something wrong with you, darling, not me. Talk about privilege. Anyway, so as I was saying, Bloomberg bought out, hired presidents of E! And Comedy Central. That could have been that awful joke he attempted to tell. It was so bad. He said, New York isn't like the entire country. I mean, if so, then every state would have a naked cowboy. And it was pure crickets. It was awful as hell. Because people who haven't been to New York don't even know what a naked cowboy is. And, oh, okay. I was like, damn. Oh, I don't see a Jimmy. Oh, there he goes. Okay. It was blocked. Oh, yeah. Jimmy's a real gem. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. The other candidates are desperate. Absolutely. Jimmy, just without looking it up, can you explain what a socialist is? I'd love to know. Also, Jimmy, it really sucks that you're going to turn down your Social Security and calling 911 and using snow plows and all those things. I mean, it's brave of you. You know, unemployment, any kind of help you would ever need. It's brave of you to turn all those things down, since you're anti-socialism. So props for that. Anyhow, so yeah, that was a really bad attempt at a joke. And okay, so here's one of the most appalling things. So Pete decides to state we can't afford a scenario where it comes down to Donald Trump with his nostalgia for the social order of the 1950s, and Bernie Sanders with his nostalgia for the revolutionary politics of the 1960s. So let's just break that down. Pete is saying bad things happened in the 50s and 60s, and we shouldn't look at those revolutionary politics. He literally calls them revolutionary politics. So a few things happened during that time, including civil rights movement. I wouldn't expect a racist to acknowledge that. So this comment is not surprising. He said it on the debate. There's video of it. But he posted it in a tweet as well, I guess his staff, you know, while he was live, and then immediately removed the post. So obviously someone told him, you're racist and this looks bad. And he is egregious. Regardless of the, you know, as a slight came after this, because you know, Warren tried to get Bernie a few times tonight, but they were not attacks. They were like pathetic attempts, and nothing like hardcore. She's trying to toe the line. She knows she lost all of us, and well, she lost me back in 16, but she can't win without us, and she's not winning now. So I guess she tried to like tone it down a little or something, but you know, she sucked as usual. But regardless of context, and even though a slight came after this, Liz literally said, Bernie is winning, and pointed to him. And I was like, oh man, that's freaking delicious. Again. It felt so good to hear her say that, even if it's a one-time thing, even though we know it's true. Her saying those words, just, oh my God, how freaking amazing. It felt so damn good. Let's see. One of the things he also said, which rightfully so, offended some African Americans on Twitter. Pete said, when I was born, there was no difference in life expectancy. And Professor Holloway on Twitter said, Black folks want a word with that youngster in front of the woodshed. I'm like, what do you mean there wasn't see, this is why him saying he's smart and everything means nothing, because book smart, yeah, that's awesome, but he is so racially dumb and inept at learning, even attempting to learn about different cultures, and you know, the horrible things that poor people have to deal with, and people of color, and everything like that. I mean, he doesn't even try. They were all asked a quote, which inspires them, which they're you know, which they kind of live by. And so Warren gave a Bible quote. Well, I'm separation of church and state, and I really don't care about her God, to be honest, but the fact that she gave a Bible quote, and I've never heard her talk about the Bible or anything like that, just shows she was so pandering to the people of South Carolina. That's all it was. South Carolina votes on Saturday. Okay, so when people, especially white people, when they think about South Carolina, we all know there is a very big African American population, and it also is very heavily, has attended churches. I mean, those are facts. So what does she do? She uses a Bible quote, which was the first time she's ever done anything like that, which is why it stood out. And I wasn't the only one completely just confused. It was bizarre. What else? Okay, so it wasn't a good okay from Bernie, but when Pete and Bernie went to shake hands, Bernie goes, yeah. And he looked so pissed. He wouldn't even make eye contact with Pete, and it was amazing. I want a gif of it because Bernie, like, straight up does not play with his facial expressions. Like, he can say whatever he wants, but it's all over his face. And he was not having it. Pete tries so hard. So hard. And it's pathetic. One of the things I've called Liz out for before is saying, acting like she's against war when she literally just voted 2 times for Trump's military budget. What exactly do you think $70 billion in a war budget is going to do? Because that's kind of what leads to war, is giving this money to these freaking warmongers. So don't vote for that shit and then come out and act like you're anti-interventionalist, when we all know by your history you have disrespected Palestinians continuously, and you have pictures with Netanyahu. It's just, I hate the hypocrisy of it. It's infuriating, and I can't help but every single time one of the candidates says something, in my mind, I'm just like, oh my God, look at your history. It doesn't say that. But unfortunately, a lot of the people who watch these debates, they take everything they say as gospel and they don't research it. Because you can say whatever you want, but if your record shows that that is not applicable to anything you've ever stood for, then your words mean nothing. Yeah, Bernie did call Netanyahu. Yeah, he did, and he should have. Absolutely. He's a criminal, and he's a dictator. Oh, dude, Jenna, you are so right. Back to the quotes. When they were asked about quotes, like what resonates with them, Klobuchar mentioned Paul Wellstone. I was fuming. Fuming. How dare you? Yeah, Wellstone would not support you. Sorry. Yeah, people call Bernie anti-Semitic all the time, even though he's a Jew who lost his family in the Holocaust, because apparently saying that we should withdraw hold back funding of aid to Israel because they're, killing people and, blowing up people of, in Palestine, and, Gaza is just pure hell. So saying unless they get their shit together, we're not giving you your money, that is very anti-Semitic, apparently. Let's see what else we got. So yeah, okay, so I digress a bit, but Saturday is South Carolina primary. We are showing number one, but I do have reservations with that because polls suck anyway. But yeah, exactly. He lived in a kibbutz. Exactly. Um, and you know, South Carolina would be a huge victory, huge, because the three states thus far, we have gotten the African American vote, the Latino vote, the Native American vote, the under 65 vote, the female vote. I mean, we have gotten literally every single category except over 65. I'm okay with that because we do get a lot of them as well. It's just Biden is the one who really, a lot of them have Obama nostalgia and what have you. So we will do well in South Carolina. I can't guarantee we'll win. Last time South Carolina in 16 was one of our worst states. I could be wrong, but I believe that we were 23% in South Carolina last time, which is just bad. I mean, really bad. After winning, I think it was 23 primaries and then one of the most important states coming in 20 something percent. It was bad. We got destroyed. There is a big difference now. We have double digit endorsements of African American legislators in South Carolina alone. Miss Nina has been there nonstop, representing us. Killer Mike has been there nonstop. Dr. Cornell West has been there nonstop. And even when, 26, thank you. Yeah, oh man, that's bad. Oof. It was disheartening to have that happen last time, but what it comes down to is Bernie just wasn't known. He wasn't known. They didn't know him. They didn't know his history. That happened in New York too. They had to register, and by they, I mean like everyone. People had to register, 10 months in advance to vote, and they didn't know who the hell Bernie was. So they were independents and such like that. And it was too late. Am I going to South Carolina? I wish. I have no money, like none. Brad, that's so amazing. Yeah, I am burn and turn 2020 100%. You guys know, like from day one, she knows. I've now told her 7 times in person that she is VP. And her responses have differed. She now, like 2 weeks ago, someone online said, "Good morning, Vice President Turner," and she goes, "Good morning." Burn and turn 2020. Dude, seeing her take on Mike Pence, oh my God. I just got goosebumps. It would be freaking beautiful. Let me see. So Bernie, I think it was like I'm going to Milwaukee. Absolutely. I do not care if I have to hitchhike. I was in Philly for 6 days, marching in over 100-degree heat, like 8 miles a day. And I will be in Milwaukee, period. Yeah, like there's no way I'm missing that. Not gonna happen. I don't care if I have to like sell blood. I'm going. I hope it doesn't come to that though, because I'm anemic, so that would be bad. And then, okay, let's just, and I'm going to get shit for this, but something I was thinking of, and I'm a woman, so don't at me because this is how I feel. There are so many strong, intelligent, capable women who could run for president. And the two in the race, the two on the stage, cannot talk without sounding like they're going to cry. It looks weak. And if you cannot keep your voice from shaking when you're asked a question, I don't know how we're supposed to know. Like, why are we supposed to believe you can stand on a debate stage with Trump when you're being asked questions by your peers and you're like, whoa. I mean, Liz and Amy both do it. I've seen them do it time and time again in on debates and in interviews. I mean, it's sad because it is, there are so many women who, like, picture Nina up there. She'd be like, oh, hell no. Her voice does not waver. It does not shake. That's who we need. Now, not like Pete, who is completely stoic and robot-like and has literally zero feeling in his entire being. He is so emotionless that it is scary. He said, okay, now I gotta go to his quote because it was just so fucking oh my God. Pete said, people think I'm not passionate, but it's really because I'm so passionate. What the fuck does that mean? Like, you're so passionate that you're not passionate? I'm not understanding what that means. You can typically tell when someone's passionate. I'm so passionate that's why I appear not passionate. I don't know how to deal with that. See, this is why when people call him smart, I'm like, okay, book smart. Now what? I mean, I don't fucking get it. What else? Pete said, okay, so we all know that even Republicans are starting to favor Medicare for all. I think we're at like 72% of people in the country as a whole, regardless of party, are supporting Medicare for all. Pete decided to make the statement, you know what would happen, Bernie, with Medicare for all? It would reelect Donald Trump. He literally insinuated, well, not even insinuated, stated that Bernie should walk it back because Medicare for all alone on his platform is enough to reelect Donald Trump. That's the number one reason Bernie has support, is because of Medicare for all. So how about people who are losing stop telling the front runner how to run? Nathan, I agree. Absolutely. I mean, I volunteered in Iowa for Bernie for 5 weeks, and I talked to countless Republicans who were going to vote for Bernie because they agree with Medicare for all. I mean, for Pete to say that, who are you talking to? Because I know you're a Republican, so you're probably referring to yourself, but not everybody feels that way. And if you look at studies, and actually watch interviews of people, people have warmed up to it so much from the past 4 years when Bernie first made it a national talking point. So for someone who's so out of touch with people like Pete to say that the front runner should change because he'll reelect Trump literally makes no sense at all. What else? Mike Bloomberg, yet again, was asked about stop and frisk. Yet again, he did not apologize. He apologized because I apologize that I'm sorry it went too far. He hasn't apologized for implementing it or for causing African Americans so much trauma and so much heartache and pain, and for the ones who committed suicide because of it, and for the one who had his laptop broken and had to drop out of school because of it. He hasn't apologized for those things. So that's not really, like, it's like when someone says, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not an apology at all. You're not holding yourself accountable. Yeah, Buttigieg's dad was a freaking Marxist. And that's how he knew who Bernie Sanders was back in the day, because his dad, was learning about democratic socialism. Let me see. Mike also said Bernie will lose to Trump, and he'll also lose the House and Senate, and they'll both go entirely red again. So let's just analyze that, because I'm pretty sure under Obama, over 1,000 seats were lost. So maybe don't use that as an example. Also, thousands of people have run for the first time because Bernie inspired them. I've interviewed over 150 of them personally. So yeah, probably not a good analogy, Mike. What else? Okay, so, people are making comments about, the people in the audience being paid. There is actually a receipt of that. I posted it on my Twitter. They were paying people $1,000 to go to the debate and giving them tickets, because mind you, tickets started at like $1,600, I believe. So they were giving people tickets and paying them $1,000 to cheer ridiculously hard and loud for Mike and boo Bernie. And it was so beyond obvious. Like, it was so obvious. Okay, look, nobody cheered for Mike last time. Nobody. And these people were literally booing Liz when she stuck up for women. And there were women's voices like, boo! I'm like, oh my God, okay, you are fake, you are paid. There isn't, like, I know, like, say Hillary supporters make excuses for her being married to a rapist and things like that, but, like, I've never seen women, like, boo someone because they call out a guy, for, I mean, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Yeah, he's literally answered that a million times. Like, I'm not even going into that. He has answered that probably more than a million times. So it's on his website, berniesanders.com. So what else? Okay, I don't know if this was a joke, but it failed miserably, whatever it was. Mike Bloomberg said, he said, I'm surprised any of these people came this week after how I won last debate. There was no noise after that. So I'm not sure if it was supposed to be a joke, but I'm like, that's pretty self-deprecating for someone who's really sanctimonious. So I don't think it was a joke, but I don't know, besides in his head, who thinks he won the last debate, because he got destroyed. Also, in addition to paying the audience, he showed ads, his political ads, during every single commercial. How is that allowed? I mean, I guess it is because he did it, but like the amount of so much money, that is scary to have that much money to, because older people who only watch TV and don't look at the internet are going to see those ads, which make him look like so good for African Americans and so good for the economy, and has Obama saying great words about him. Those ads are going into people's heads like, oh, he seems like a good dude. He seems cool. Yeah. Because the more they see something, the more it's going to get into their head. I mean, Tina, I gotta look into the legality of it, but I really don't understand. That just seems, I don't know. That I gotta look into that. Yeah, Bloomberg did say he bought Congress. He's like, I donated millions of dollars to these candidates, and they're the ones that elected Speaker Pelosi. Well, thanks, because she's a gem. We appreciate it. Um, let's see what else. Amy, she did horribly again. And like I said, her voice always shakes, and you cannot do that job if you are not confident in yourself. Um, One of my favorite quotes, she didn't talk about Snow Woman, which made me sad, or the great blizzard of the day she announced, but she did state about Bernie's policies, do they hurt my Uncle Dick at the deer stand? Not sure what that means, but I felt it was worthy of writing it down. I gotta remember that. Amy also stated that she feels that Bernie alienates other people who aren't very, very radical. And in fact, he actually doesn't. He actually, Brad, I'm trying to concentrate, but I love it. I'm totally gonna use that on Twitter. Oh my god. Oh my god, I'm done. Yeah, he does. Yeah, so Um, Amy said, a socialist is not the best person to run the country. Well, it's a good thing Bernie's not, I guess, then. The one thing that I was surprised, well, I shouldn't say I was surprised, because Tom did have a man crush. He did at one point, and that changed literally overnight. And he started attacking Bernie in his commercials. But he did call Bernie a democratic socialist. Tom Steyer did. So at least, I mean, he gets like a fraction of the point, I guess. But let's see, what else did Amy say? Amy said that she does support legalization of marijuana. However, she does not support letting people out of jail who have already been arrested, which is not cool. She stated that they need to be looked into, like if she implied each and every case needs to be looked into. No, we're not going to do that. That's how much manpower do you think that's going to take? I mean, it's bananas. Like, you really want, like, there's been millions of people who have been incarcerated at some point for marijuana, whether, having it or anything. And it could be this much or it could be this much. Who the hell knows? But you want to go through every single, no. Here's the thing. It's literally, it's legalized. If you're in jail for marijuana, you get let out. Your record gets expunged. This is the only way to let African American people who have been hurt by the system even try to get a new start. Because when they have to check that stupid box, they don't have to anymore. They get a clean record. They can start over. I mean, well, you see, Nathan, how we're going to pay for Amy's plan is not at all, because she doesn't really have a plan. She has a lot of like half ideas, and also she has literally no chance of winning. But it's definitely interesting that they are still in the race, and I'm okay with that, because let's keep it real. That's one of the reasons we're winning, is because the semi-Republican slash centrist slash lib vote is being, divided up by like 5 people. So, I mean, stay in. Cool. Keep going. It's actually helping us. And I think that's actually, it's more advantageous for us. Also, like, look, last time it was Bernie and one other person. That's a lot harder to win than running against 7 other people. Even though, like, some at the bottom get virtually no points anyway. You take people like Liz Warren, you take people like Tom, you take people like Amy, you take, these candidates, and they literally have not gotten a single delegate in 2 out of 3 of the states. Bernie has 45 delegates right now. 45. That's bananas. We made a record with that. We won 24 of the 36 delegates in Vegas, or in Nevada. 2/3 of the delegates. We actually talked a little about Bernie's running mate. A lot of us would prefer Burn and Turn 2020, Nina Turner. she is strong, independent, mouthy, um, intelligent, experienced. She has it all. And last night on Bernie's town hall, he was asked, a woman asked a question, and I wasn't salty about it. It was a valid question, and one that needed to be asked. To him, we always answer it, but it needed to be asked for him to answer once and for all. And she said, a lot of people are concerned that, you're not in these words, but you're an old white guy. She said, a lot of people are ready for a woman and things like that. So, Bernie responded, look, I know one thing, my VP isn't going to be an old white guy. And then the week before, he stated that his VP would more than likely be a woman. And he said there is a possibility that it will be, that he will announce it before the convention. My fear is that he'll give in to Liz. I don't know if he will, but I'm worried. It is a concern. I will still vote for him, but it'll break my fucking heart. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen. And I'm not alone in that hope. Let me see. Okay, so the one thing Warren said, which is just, what's one thing what's so attractive about Bernie? Well, hell, he wears unmatching suits. He doesn't comb his hair. Oh my God, total bae. The thing about Miss Nina, though, is that the libs hate her so much. They are so racist with her. It's disgusting. It is so gross, the amount of hate she gets. And we save all the receipts. So when Bernie says, like, her and Bree are sent, things like horrible things, he is not kidding at all. It's gross. It really is. So they would lose their shit if he announced her, because we'd call them out and say, what about all the times you called us sexist because we didn't vote for your woman and things like that. See, okay, here's the thing about Tom Steyer. He's a billionaire, which kind of conflicts with, our message. But not just that, he started trashing Bernie. I don't want anyone on that stage in our cabinet. They're trashing him. Warren, she said they were talking about Medicare for all. She had the audacity to say this. She said, I did the work and Bernie's team trashed me for it. You did the work on Medicare for all. Bernie wrote the damn bill. You did the work and his team trashed you for it? No. We trashed you for it because it's garbage and it's not Medicare for all. I'd be down with Cynthia McKinney. That'd be fine. What else? Okay, she lasted 37 minutes with No mention of the selfie line. 37 minutes in, she gave in and she talked about it. Um, you know, I mean, Rashida is my second to Miss Nina. I met Rashida when I was volunteering in Iowa for 5 weeks, and she was so, so kind. I just adore her to pieces. I started getting emotional when I was telling her about, some of what I'm going through medically, and she started crying and she held my hand and she must have hugged me 5 times, and she just has such a beautiful heart, and she's strong, strong as hell. And she has such a great story that nobody talks about, like what she went through to get um to where she is now. And she's an activist. That's the thing. We want activists. Bernie says, I'm the organizer in chief. He is. He's an activist. We don't want someone in there who, all of a sudden, hey, I'm running for president. I'm going to walk on picket lines. No. Where were you prior? You were nowhere to be found. That's not our movement. Our movement is built on activists. AOC is too young. Marianne, I don't agree with everything, politically, but she has a good heart. And that doesn't make her a good politician. And I don't support anyone who has never had a day in politics in their life. But, her endorsement means a lot because she did a really beautiful video for Bernie in 2016. And I was hoping she'd endorse him again because she posts about him all the time. But I was like, I don't know if she's waiting for something. As far as Pramila, yes, she was not born in the United States, which is kind of bananas because it's like, she is a resident. I mean, we're number one in Texas. It is blowing my mind. And we're number one in California. My fear about California is last time over 2 million of our votes got thrown out. That is terrifying that it could and may happen again. And it's all because of the fact that they were given the incorrect ballots when they were, when people were showing up with Bernie shirts and Bernie buttons, they were given NPP ballots, which is no party preference. They were stuck in red boxes and they were stuck in storage. They were never counted. There were over 2 million. I mean, that is so abhorrent. So abhorrent. I mean, it's disturbing, which is why this time we've gotten more educated about the process. But I hope that Californians themselves have gotten more educated, because the fact of the matter is, if Californians are educated to the point that they know what they are doing, they know what ballot they need, they can tell the people, stop trying to fuck with me. I know the ballot I need. Don't give me that shit. Rather than when they're like, oh, we ran out of the correct ballots. Nah, bitch, get some more. Don't let them push you around. Don't do it. This is your vote. This is your right. And also, the fact of the matter is, when I was at Occupy DNC in Philadelphia at the convention protest, I met a delegate from California who had given her heart and soul to the campaign for months, volunteering. And she was denied her vote because they fucked with her registration and gave her the wrong ballot. So imagine that. Imagine everything you work for, you volunteer for, believing so much in someone, waiting to cast that ballot, like so excited and so proud. Everything you worked for is a culmination of this moment, and it's taken from you. They did that to over 2 million people. And it's unacceptable. We need to make sure that Californians know the correct process. It is on Twitter. I've shared it. And if you go to Bernie's Twitter as well, he did a short video about the process of how to vote in California. Early voting has already started. So, I mean, if you can find that video on Bernie's page, I believe he just shared it again yesterday. He may actually have it pinned. Please, please, please share it. Facebook and Twitter. We need people to just sit there for a few minutes and learn. That's it. I mean, just learn. It's your vote. It's your right. It should count. So, let's see. What else? Bernie's quote was Nelson Mandela, who I was hope he'd make a joke about that he was older than him when he was elected. But it was, everything is impossible until it happens. He screwed it up a little, but that's what he said. And it's so true. These people who say, well, I like his policies, but he won't get them passed. Isn't it better to have someone to fight for those things, who believes in those things, than to just settle for middle ground and have people, a year later still saying, oh, well, we just passed this one. We'll wait another 20 years. Like, let's look at, minimum wage. It's been $7.25 for over a decade. If we go to $10, how long is it going to be till we go, to 15? 20 more years? I mean, 15 is even low. So the fact that people are like fighting against a 15 is gross and privileged. Something else I wish that Bernie would have touched on is that one of the moderators asked, the unemployment rate has gone down tremendously under Trump, and she said, what would that look under, a socialist president? And he said, the economy is good, and I wish he would have said, well, it's because people have more than one job. That's why. I mean, it's that simple. People do. Thank you, Fluffy Bunny. I cannot fucking wait to vote for Bernie for the third time because I wrote him in. And I will again if I have to. Yep, Jenna, absolutely. I have a postcard of that hanging up. I'd rather vote for something I want and not get it, then vote for something I don't want and get it. It's really that simple. And that's why Debs was a badass. No, here's the thing. I see that you said you're moving back to Canada if Bernie loses. But here's the thing. What we'll do if he's fucked again is first we're all going to go to Milwaukee and protest. And yes, I'm serious. I will be there. Period. Then what we're going to do, this part is just a fantasy. We're going to go to Vermont. We're going to make a commune. We're going to cut it off from the contiguous United States and make it its own little country and make Bernie president there. That's kind of my utopian idea. So that way we get him regardless. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think that was all I had from the debate because it wasn't very. Joe Biden said, I've worked like the devil to help African Americans. That was just weird. For the third debate, it's the third debate that Joe Biden said Uyghurs. I don't understand if he's mispronouncing something. I've Googled to try and see if there is something. I don't fucking know. But he says Uyghurs. I was like, is Uyghurs a name? Like, I don't know. And people, I always feel like I'm hearing something and it's all over Twitter that nobody understands what he's trying to say. Joe Biden, okay, so yesterday, he literally said, I'm running for Senate. And then he said, if you don't like me, vote for the other Biden. Why is his family telling him he should keep going? That it's to the point where it's elder abuse. He lied about, you know, I mean, he keeps lying about all these historical things that he was a part of, and they're all bullshit. Good point, Nathan. Very valid point. Very valid point. Oh, Hector, I absolutely think that Bernie can pull Trump voters. I have no doubt. Yeah, Bijou. I mean, that's why I'm so hyped to go. I mean, in Philly, we had, I think they said like 8,000. So, and that was nothing compared to this. Like, we have PTSD from this shit. So now it's even more important that we get there. Absolutely. Like, we have to. But in all seriousness, even if I'm there by myself, I'm going to be there and I'm going to be fighting like hell. Not physically, hopefully. But I'm going to be, standing up for democracy. It's not even Bernie. I'm so sick of them cheating. And we're the only ones who care. And I mean, there's so much talk about Russia, but at the same time, like, we're the only ones asking for paper ballots. We're the only ones, asking for, videotape, triple counted paper ballots, yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Hector. Thanks, Nick. Yeah, I feel like I have to go. It's in my soul. Like, I feel like, even though, the show has become such a huge part of my life after, for 2.5 years, and my activism is my life. I feel like if and or when we get cheated again, like, I'm just done. I am done. Like, I really don't give a fuck anymore. Um, Absolutely, Nick. Absolutely. If Your name sounds familiar, but if we're not friends on Facebook, you guys can always uh, feel free to send me a friend request on Facebook. But I'm not on Facebook like a lot. I'm always on Twitter. Oh, okay, Nick. I thought so. I thought your name sounded familiar. Um, but my Twitter's at Savage Joy Marie 1. So if you guys want to follow me there, I post way too much. But I have a good amount of followers, so it's just easier to post on there than Facebook. Um, but in any case, thank you guys for watching. Again, Saturday will be South Carolina. I will go live after the um, the results